Good evening and welcome to the Gold Goats and Guns Hour here on YouTube and DLive. My name is Tom Luongo. It is Monday, June 24th, 2019. Tonight we've got a lot to talk about. Tonight I want to talk about the my latest take, understanding now of what happened last week with Iran shooting down an American drone, and I think we have a much clearer picture as to what's actually happening and what actually happened and what it all means. And so before we get started, sorry I'm late tonight. Didn't actually really want to do the live stream tonight. Then I looked up and I'm like, oh my god, it's 8 o'clock. Eek. Oh, run in, shave, do the thing. All right, so just kind of biding time for a minute or two while we get some people into the stream before we get fully started here. So as always, you can find my work over at tomluongo.me. You can find me weekly over at Strategic Culture and moneyandmarkets.com. You can also follow me on Twitter on TFL1728. And then you can, of course, sign up for the Gold Goats and Guns investment newsletter, where we tie together all the geopolitics and all of this stuff into a coherent investment thesis centered around gold, cryptos, oil, natural gas, and a few other things that I tend to focus on. All right. So, with that said, let's get started. So, what happened on Thursday last week? It was pretty obvious that from the moment the news broke that I thought Iran had simply said, look, we've had enough of this. This is as far as we're going to go. We're not interested in hearing any more excuses from Donald Trump or anybody else. If the sanctions aren't lifted and the United States doesn't begin backing down on its belligerence, then Iran is going to respond in kind. And everybody, I think, underestimates just how important it is that they stood up and finally said no. Because at the end of the day, the United States was going to push and push and push and push until Iran finally struck back. It's the same thing with Russia, right? John Bolton and the neocons firmly believe that all you do is push these people. If they don't respond and they don't respond in kind to your aggression, then they're obviously weak and you can continue to push them. They don't ever see prudence as anything other than weakness. And John Bolton is an ideologue. He wants Iran wiped off the face of the planet. He sees the mullahs as an existential threat to all that is good and decent in the world, and he does not understand the situation at all. Watching Tucker Carlson's segment the other night, where he called John Bolton a bureaucratic tapeworm, and then played tape of their conversation, it's very obvious that John Bolton's a psychopath. And it's just that simple. And there's nothing else you can do about it. And the truth of the matter is that the fact that Donald Trump is still willing to suffer this person and do so in such a way as to say, well, I like to have hawks and doves in my cabinet, and I listen to both sides and then I make a decision. But I'm firmly in control of my decision making. All right. So if Trump is fully in charge of the decision making in the White House, then he's just as much an idiot as the rest of them, because he doesn't understand secondary consequences and secondary effects. He also believes that he can just put maximal pressure on people, and that eventually they'll come to an arrangement. If he bullies people enough, that eventually they'll have to deal with him. or he'll just walk away. Well, if you walk away, how can you walk away from this? You're the one who says Iran's not allowed to have a nuclear weapon, and you're the one who's drawn the red line in the sand. You're the one who said all of these things. You're the ones who said, I demand world peace. I this, I this, I this, I that. And at the end of the day, if those are the conditions you've laid out for everybody, you've given yourself no way to back down if somebody says, fuck a whole lot of you. No, fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck you. But I demand, fuck you. But we can wipe you off the planet, fuck you. We'll bomb you back this, fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck you. That's what Iran has been saying. Over and over and over again. Very short, very sweet, fuck you. Fuck Trump, fuck Bolton, fuck Netanyahu, fuck Ben Salman, fuck Ben Zayed, fuck all of them. Fuck you. Fuck Putin. If Putin's gonna play games with them. Fuck you. One more time. If you hadn't heard it, gonna say it clearly and loudly with fuck you. Fuck you. The United States flew a Poseidon P-8 anti-submarine plane next to the creme de la creme of our surveillance drones into Iranian airspace. The Iranians made it abundantly clear that they were ready to shoot down the P-8 with 38 people on board. Read Elijah Magnier's latest article with quotes directly from IRGC bigwigs. This is the scenario. This is the truth. So last week we're all trying to go, what happened here? Did the IRGC go rogue? Was there, was all this cloak and dagger stuff? No. It was very simple. We flew into their airspace. Then we said, and the Iranians said, get out of our airspace. And then we said, yeah, but we've decided we're not going to go to war with you. This came in through back channels. So that spared the lives of the 38 people who were on that P-8. By the way, the normal crew count on a P-8 is 9. Why were there 38 people on board a P-8? Maybe because we were going to sacrifice 38 people for John Bolton, because that was the minimum, I guess in his mind, maybe that was the minimum number that we would be willing to go to war over. That if 9 wouldn't be quite enough, but if 38, the Iranians killed 38 of our men? Oh no, we have to go to fucking war now. This is all coldly calculated to create an international incident. And Iran was ready and willing at that point to throw down. And no one in their right mind in America thought they would ever do this. That they would always back down. Everybody in Washington was like, no, if you pressure them hard enough, eventually they'll back down. Eventually they'll back down. Ready? Fuck you. No, fuck you. I'm ready to go. Dude, I got nothing left to lose. I'm ready to go to heaven. Are you? Putin said this exact same thing recently. In a public speech, he said, we're not going to start World War III, but by God, we're going to end it, and we're going to wind up in heaven because we're not the ones who started it. So the message Iran is sending here, if you parse all this out, so timeline of events, go back, P-8, Ghost Hawk drone enters Iranian airspace. The Iranians make it abundantly clear, leave or you're going to get shot down. Furious back channel communications. Eventually the decision comes down by Trump, most likely, we're not going to go to war with you. Okay. And then Iran shoots down the drone anyway. Doesn't shoot down the plane with the men on it, shoots down the drone. Now think about this. Trump just blinked and Iran fired anyway. This is what happened on Thursday or Wednesday night, whenever Wednesday night. This is what happened. Trump blinked. Trump finally said, okay, that's it. We're not going any farther with this. We're not going to go to war with you. That's not what we want. Okay. But the drone still refused to leave Iranian airspace, turned off its lights, its GPS, all of its digital systems, acting like a hostile after it was told to leave. And so it got shot down. And it got shot down by an Iranian short anti-aircraft system that we didn't think we could shoot that. We didn't think they could shoot that particular drone down. Oops. So now what? So now what? What happened here was as follows. We had an incident designed to create a particular effect. Either get us into war or find out just find out what Trump's breaking point was. We found out what Trump's breaking point was. And then Iran went one step further. And the reason Trump was so angry during the press conference with Justin Trudeau that afternoon before he made the decision to not bomb Iran, magnanimously saying, well, it was going to kill 150 people. I didn't think that was proportionate. Okay, like the millions of people you're starving, that's proportionate. Because you started us on this path, now you're going to starve millions of people? I think Iran is justified in shooting down a drone in their airspace. It shows you the height of narcissism and solipsism that infests Washington, that infests these people. The sense of, well, we're right. What we want is right, and you're evil, so anytime we don't attack you, we're sparing your life. Flip the script, dude. They're looking at us like, you guys are fucking insane. Keep those words in mind. Fuck you. You want to talk to God? Words of Indiana Jones. You want to talk to God? Let's go see him together. I've got nothing better to do, right? So every time that's been playing in my head the entire time is the scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark where right after Marion supposedly is killed and right in the bar, and Bella comes to see him in the bar, and he's drinking this. Drunk as a skunk. So, you want to talk to God? Let's go see him together. I've got nothing better to do. Great line. So, think about it. Now, why did Iran shoot the drone down if we said we're not going to go to war with them? Well, because you can't let this kind of aggression stand. Because if we come in through back channels and say, yeah, we're not going to go to war with you. We're just trying to poke you to see what you would say. The Iranians go, no, get the fuck out of our airspace. Because if they say no, if they don't do anything, then that gives the Americans carte blanche to come in and do this again. Do surveillance, do whatever they want, forward posture, create, potential, create problems and harassment, all this stuff, that whole, classic. That whole classic annoying thing. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. And then that guy gets punched in the mouth and he cries, well, I wasn't punching you. I didn't touch you. Yeah, you know the fuck out of me. You're an asshole. I didn't bomb you. I mean, this is the kind of childish shit we're dealing with in Washington. And I give Trump credit for not going to war this week, but I don't give him any credit for being a fucking childish asshole about how he's been conducted foreign policy. And that's basically what Iran has told him. You're acting like an asshole. And now you're going to pay the consequences, which is you asked, we're not going to give you the ability to save face over this. This is the important point. Because what Trump wanted was then to be able to go in and bomb. He begged the Iranians, effectively, let me bomb something so that I can go back to my people at home and look like a hero. So that I don't have any political fallout from this, and then we'll talk and we'll get this all worked out. And Iran was like, fuck you. You gotta be kidding, dude. Fuck a whole lot of you. No. Shot down the freaking drone. Pissed him off because he knew now he was in the shit. Now he was fucked politically, domestically. He was fucked from a market perspective. He was fucked in every way. And he has no way to get out of this. It's like, dude, you're in the middle of a game of chess and you just let your bishop get taken and then you're asking for freaking clemency. Are you kidding? Are you freaking kidding me? Is this the kind of amateur hour fucking baby boomer bullshit that we're dealing with here? Christ on a crutch. This isn't a friendly game of freaking handball, Don. This isn't a friendly game on the back nine, for Christ's sake, and you're giving them a 3 handicap. Come on, dude. This is life and death. So Iran sent a very stern message to everybody the other day. Oh, by the way, the United States is a paper tiger. The White House is a mess. And the market's got the message loud and clear. Gold's trading at $14.25. Bitcoin's at 11,000. Every safe haven asset in the world, other than the US dollar, and believe me, that's coming, is in a massive bull market. Go look at the 10-year note. Go look at German bunds. Go look at Swiss franc bonds or the Swissies. Go look at anything you want. That's traditionally a safe haven trade, including the Dow, which made an all-time weekly closing high last week. These are all safe haven assets today in a world where everything is a mess and no one knows where to park capital. Moreover, the markets properly sussed out what actually happened that day because oil didn't bolt by $20 a barrel. As a matter of fact, the markets called Trump's bluff as much as anybody else. What did oil pump? $5? And it just dropped 20. I don't know about you, but I was driving home last night and gas was $2.37 a gallon in Alachua. It was $2.59 3 weeks ago. Okay? So the markets understand what's happening here. Okay? Now we can get this whole war thing behind us and we can start really looking at what's actually happening, which is that Trump has got to start backing down from every one of these situations he's gotten himself into. That means, the confrontation with China over trade and North Korea and Iran and everything else. And look, I was on Fault Lines on Friday with Lee and Garland. I was talking about this stuff and I said, look, I understand what Trump is trying to do here, but he's going about it the exact opposite way of what he should be doing. And I wish to hell somebody would actually tell him this, but he's got bad hawks and he's got bad doves. The hawks are all telling him, he's got bad hawks. We know what those are. But he's got bad doves too, because they're not telling him what to do, which is solve frickin' North Korea. If you solve North Korea and you get them to denuclearize, then you've got Iran will denuclearize. And all you got to do is get Iran to come back to the table, because the biggest problem with the JCPOA is the fact that North Korea and Iran share information. They share technical information. Iran has been paying North Korea, in effect, to build a nuclear weapon while Iran works on the ballistic missile technology, and then the two of them together can build freaking nuclear bombs, right? Nuclear ballistic missiles, which they can send around the world. And that's what everybody's worried about, and rightly so. Right? And I applaud Trump for feeling so strongly about this, he's willing to do just about anything to try and stop this. Except fire fucking John Bolton, which is the easiest goddamn thing in the world. Fire fucking Bolton, get rid of fucking Pompeo, call friggin' Kim Jong-un and Putin, put a friggin' summit together, and get this shit worked out. It's not that hard. You solve Iran by solving North Korea. And he let Bolton and Pompeo blow up talks with North Korea and China. They overcomplicated everything. All the freaking China hawks in his cabinet are not doing him any favors either. And all you have to do is solve North Korea. You will eventually solve freaking Iran. Iran can back off. You tell Bibi to stick his dick back in his pants and be done with that shit. But no, if you look at what they're doing, they're going about everything ass backwards, because you've got Jared Kushner trying to bribe the Palestinians into going on the reservation, for fuck's sake. Oh, this is the deal of the century. This is another freaking... I mean, are you kidding me? How incompetent are you people? You know, when I was talking about the deal of the century and the grand bargain for peace in the Middle East 2 years ago, I was talking about it like rational people would sit down, Putin, Trump, and go, look, this is the framework. Israel's not going to get much of what they want. The Palestinians aren't going to get much of what they want, but it's going to be something. But you have to give the Palestinians something, and you have to tell Israel that's enough, and you have to tell the Saudis enough is enough. At the same time, the Russians have to tell the Iranians enough is enough, tell Hezbollah enough is enough, and be done with it. And everybody back off, and then we leave a permanent presence of the United States, which is already there, and the Russians in Syria, and everybody backs off and be done with it. And what do we have? We have a complete freaking mess. We have the permanent bureaucracy within the DOD, the CIA, and the National Security Council, desperate to try and keep things, desperate to try and continue to complicate things, to get rid of Assad, so we can have greater Israel, so that Iran will back. I mean, it's all of this. Everybody can't take the win, where the win is everybody backs off. No, everybody is still trying to fight over fucking 50 fucking square miles of magic dirt, and it's the dumbest shit imaginable. When everybody involved really wants a solution. Except the radicals. But the grown-ups at the table are supposed to take the radicals, smack them down, sit them on their fucking fat asses and say, that's enough. Shut up. You're not that powerful. Unless Netanyahu has threatened to go freaking nuclear if Trump doesn't go to war with Iran, I don't understand why we're even dealing with this shit. As user 13 says, we're going to put the Palestinians on a reservation, and they're not even allowed to have a casino. Not that I have a tremendous amount of, it's not that, at the end of the day, I don't have a soft spot for any of these people. But here we are. Star Trooper asks, how do you go from anti-war Flynn to warmonger Bolton? 2 words. Sheldon Adelson. That's how. All right, I'm done ranting. I'm going to take some quotes. I may be out of here early tonight. I don't really have much desire to do this for an hour tonight. So let's see where we're going. Soyanovich says we're going all the way back to the beginning of the comments for the evening. One of the Iranian generals basically said 1 bullet would start a war if fired at an American. Told Iranian troops not to provoke. Yes, fire on the drone. At the same time, they were also prepared to do so. I know that Trump threw, Jonathan Gillespie said that Trump threw Bolton under the bus. He did throw Bolton under the bus, but he didn't throw him under the bus hard enough because Bolton's not fired yet. And Bolton should be fired over both this and Venezuela. As a matter of fact, Trump should actually arrest him or something, so that he's never able to work in the town. Something has to happen to Bolton beyond just getting fired, so they can get picked up by the Heritage Foundation or fucking AIPAC or whatever, and then, and still skate. The guy should be cut off from being able to earn a fucking living doing anything related to foreign policy ever again. Period. If we can freaking deplatform Alex Jones, for fuck's sake, why the fuck can't we deplatform John goddamn Bolton? Yes, the setback here with Iran is no different than Venezuela. It was amateur hour to the nth degree. It was poorly done. I can still consider the thing in Venezuela the Bay of Fat Pigs. It was just sad how freaking it was unbelievable. I remember watching it that day, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, there's going to be a revolution in Venezuela," and I'm like, "They can't take an overpass. What are you, out of your freaking mind?" I was literally watching and going, the whole thing's like one overpass near an airbase. That's not even that important. Tweety Bird asked a while ago, Tom, what do you say to those pointing out that Iran is backing Hezbollah, Hamas, and killing Americans? I say to them that the Americans shouldn't be there in the first place. They're in Syria illegally in the first place. And that Hamas and Hezbollah are not killing Americans in Syria. They're killing American-backed Al-Qaeda in Syria, I would turn around to those same people and say, why are the Americans, which we now have declassified information from a U.S. general saying, yes, we created ISIS to overthrow Assad, which is the biggest open secret in the world next to, I don't know, who shot JR, for fuck's sake. It's insane. So these same people who are, oh my God, Hezbollah, oh my God, Hamas. Well, got news for you. We're the ones pouring billions of dollars in here to overthrow and destabilize all these governments. We're the ones with our CIA guys running around with freaking drug money from Afghanistan, paying people to go to start fucking wars and conflicts and take shit over. We're the ones doing this. Why are we back? Why are we, it's 18 years after 9/11, why are we backing Al-Qaeda? People who actually killed 3,000 Americans to overthrow Assad in Syria. Iran shot a robot. Oh, hold on. Putin has threatened to put missiles in Cuba if U.S. and NATO persist in Ukraine with basing missiles. He should. He absolutely should. And I'm telling you, if Trump doesn't fire Bolton in the next 6 to 8 weeks, Trump is useless. He's not making any decisions. He may make the ultimate decisions as it comes to the military, but as far as everything else concerns, he is not in control. The bureaucracy does exactly what they want. And they have him dead to rights on some other issue, either they either have something on him illegally or whatever. They've got him nuts and slutsed or, whatever. I'm telling you. Because this guy should already have been fired. Iran shot down a robot, says North on 60, violating its airspace, but refused to shoot down the aircraft with people on board. Actually, rather sane of them. I know. So, some may disagree. But no, you're absolutely right. They threatened to shoot the plane down. Then the Americans finally said, okay, we actually don't want to go to war, because it was actually Iran that was ready to start a war with the United States over a Poseidon P-8 violating their airspace last week. And the Americans finally blinked and said, okay, look, we're not going to war. Okay, fine. Then they shot the drone down. To build on that, Silver Fortune, what do you estimate Hezbollah and Hamas's ability to take on Israel as well as their assets here in the U.S., what their assets are in the U.S.? I don't think that we'll see anything from Hezbollah or Hamas here in the United States, other than like small stuff, right? I mean, come on. Is your local power plant secure from terrorists? Seriously? Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, we did have a refinery in Philadelphia go up the same day that we shot down the drone. Right? A refinery, which actually has security. But I can tell you, the local power plants here, they could be blown up tomorrow. So it doesn't take a huge operation to do that. It takes 5 guys maybe 7. What do I think that I take Hezbollah at their word that they will make life very, very bad for the Israelis. And I think that if that were the case, if everything that we were talking about were to happen, that Putin would take the gloves off of Assad, and Assad would attack Israel at the same time. That the Syrian Arab army would move, because Israel's got a great air force, but they have no ground force whatsoever. And the Syrian army now has the best ground forces in the region right now. So, yeah, it would be World War III, because right? It would be World War III. Tom says, look, I still can't get over the fact that 38 people were going to be sacrificed to start a war. I can only imagine that the Boltonites will still try to continue to escalate. I understand that. We have enough proof, the actual Tweety Bird, the reason that the actual proof we have of being in Iranian airspace was the fact that we didn't fire back on them on Thursday night. Trump didn't fire back on Thursday night because of 150 people. He fired back because there was no consensus within the White House that the drones weren't violating Iranian airspace. Everybody knew they were doing so because there was plenty of communication. Now, everything that Iran has told us since then corroborates their side of the story. And and all of the inaction by the United States corroborates their side of the story. Okay? Yeah, Doug Murray says, don't play chess versus Persians. Exactly. I've been saying this from the beginning. Why the hell did Trump hire Bolton and Pompeo? 2 words, Sheldon Adelson. Let's see, what else have we got? It's insulting to our collective intelligence that they actually expect us to be fooled by their very obvious false flags. I know. Pompeo should have gotten the axe months ago for screwing up the Korean talks. I agree. We should airdrop Bolton into Iran with all 50 MEK guys that live in and around DC. Trump should round them all up in John Bolton, give them M4s and some MREs, and hey man, you want regime change? Go for it. Go for it. You want regime change so fucking bad? Just make sure you bring an extra pair of glasses, Trump, because you'll need them. Because your first ones are going to fall right off your fucking head. The key to Trump firing Bolton and Pompeo is Iran forcing him to. Jonathan, that's a very good point. The idea that at this point, firing Bolton and Pompeo would be the beginning of any attempt at negotiation, or at least sitting down and just talking. Like opening up any kind of dialogue directly between Iran and the Trump administration would have to start with Bolton and Pompeo being fired tomorrow. Because I can't see anybody in Iran. Now that they have all the leverage. Now, if Iran were smart here, they won't overplay their hand. They'll back off from here and they'll do very little for the next few weeks. Except sell a bunch of oil to people and dare the United States to sanction anybody. Let's see. Bolton has dirt on people. I don't know if Bolton has dirt on people, but I can tell you that the people who are backing John Bolton have dirt on everybody. The whole Mueller thing was actually to gain leverage on and dirt on Trump and his family in order to get him under control. And that's Stoyanovich just saying that. I'm not even going to argue that point. The refinery that also went up with a $1.4 billion cocaine bust. I think that's more related. It's possible. What do I think about Douglas McGregor? I heard that he spun a tale the other night on Tucker Carlson. I didn't actually see it, so I can't comment. I've heard good things, but I haven't actually watched them. If there's World War III, we get nuked for helping Israel. If there's World War III, the Russians sink our navy. And Star Trooper says the most important and salient point of the night, I'm buying gold and silver again. Which is exactly my point earlier when I said that the markets have gotten the message loud and clear. Because there was a little bit of worry, right? Well, gold popped through 1,400, and that's kind of significant. Yeah, kind of. It's not really a bull market yet. We still have to go through this and this and blah, 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 blah. And okay, yeah. Truth be told, the gold bull market started back in freaking December when Trump backed off on the trade negotiations, and then in January when the Fed started changing their forward guidance away from being hawkish and raising rates and running off their balance sheet. Once they made the turn back in January and literally reversed themselves in 45 days. My my spidey sense was this is the beginning of the gold bull market, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to keep my emotions in check and say, yeah, but I'm waiting for these technical signals to happen and blah, 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 blah. That's where we are right now. We've got 4 trading days before the end of the quarter. If we're trading at these levels in gold by the end of the quarter, by Friday, if you don't own gold, you're too late. You're going to be too late real soon. Right. So Jonathan follows up his point, going back to Bolton and Pompeo, that Iran will use its leverage here, can very well force the firing of Bolton and Pompeo. I agree. It's very possible. It's very possible. But I think that what Iran can do here, I think Iran has made its point very clearly that they can inflict asymmetrically kind of damage that the United States cannot suffer. Remember, these people have been living under some kind of sanctions or war from us for over 60 years. These are hard people. Okay? These are not soft, silver spoon, have everything people. These are people who have had to work, fight, kick, and scratch for everything they have for the last 70 years since we overthrew the Shah. Thing with the current generation of Russians, people who came out of, who were the people who came through, the few people that came through the 1990s are going to be harder and stronger and more capable because of what they went through. Adversity doesn't breed character, it reveals character, right? It's one of the first rules of screenwriting is that conflict doesn't create character, it reveals it. Character has character. If a person has character, has fortitude, we'll see it. And if they don't, they'll break. So Iran sees the West as very soft. And rightly so, very psychologically weak and arrogant. That's where we're weak, and that's where we're vulnerable. And then when you look at the way we've built our financial and military structure, and the structure, the foundation on which this military and financial might has been built, it's built on a foundation of sand, and they understand that's where the leverage is. Same thing with the Russians, same thing with the Chinese, all of them, they get it. It's the Junkers and the Tusks and the Trumps and the Boltons and the fucking Larry Kudlows and all of these people, they don't get it. They don't understand how fragile the whole thing truly is. Very Nietzschean universe. I hate to say it, but it's true. The Iranians have been fighting us asymmetrically since 1979. 245 dead Marines in Lebanon are one example. 290 Iranians shot down by the USS Vincennes. No apology. Think about that. Great Fred Harris is in the house. He says, who is going to do something about Biden and Soros stirring up violence in Georgia? Eventually, it'll be Putin, but we'll see. Mark Shear asks, Thomas, is silver a good idea? Also, do you think Netanyahu is blackmailing our government? Yes and yes. I don't think silver long term is a good plan, but I think during this next run, I mean, as in, I wouldn't be holding silver as kind of generational wealth anymore. I consider gold still generational wealth, but I don't consider silver generational. I consider that silver, I think, is very close to being fully commoditized. And that silver has too many uses industrially. That the industrial character of silver is taking over from its monetary character. So silver's beginning to look more and more like copper on the medium term or long term horizon. And financial guys, medium term 18 months to 3 years, long term 3 to 5 years. So in the or 3 to 7 years. In the long term, I think silver is going to be a dead letter. But in the medium term, I think silver's got a very bright future as a sympathy trade with gold. I think if you're holding silver, Don't hold on to it for the David Morgan moment or the fucking Eric Sprott moment where it's going to trade at $1,000 an ounce because there's so many freaking industrial uses for it and there's not enough of it and all that. That's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. There's billions of pounds of stock of silver and it will come into the market and it will be sold. Silver stock to flow ratio will drop like a rock and silver will be demonetized over time. But short term, I think silver will do just fine. I am holding on to my silver. I still recommend certain primary silver producers I still really like. Once silver re-enters a primary bull market, which will happen around $16.50 an ounce, then yeah, you can make a lot of money in silver. Okay. And, you know, I discuss some of this in my newsletter here and there, but I'm ultimately going to be, I am medium-term bearish, like 3 years medium-term bullish, long-term, rest of my lifetime bearish. I think there's going to be one more big huzzah for silver, and then I'm going to be done with it. And I've always said this. I've been saying this since I first bought my first silver coin back in 2000. Not to you guys, because I wasn't talking to you guys back then, but I said it to my wife back then. I said, you know, when this is done, when the monetary system collapses, you know, I will hold on to the gold is something that we hold on to. The gold is something that we bequeath to our daughter. It's our generational wealth that we're going to begin building as we're going to be building through time. We're going to teach our daughter or children. At the time, I didn't have children, but we're going to teach them what real wealth is. Silver is not real. I don't think silver is going to wind up being real wealth. I'm going to sell it at the top of the market and then use that as a springboard to the rest of our lives. Okay. Does anybody else miss France? Not at all. Who would have thought that the best hope of bringing Trump back to form was Iran? I did. I told you all back in September in an article in Strategic Culture that Trump and Bolton are bullies, and eventually the bullies will be stood up to, and they will be, and bullies bully because they're weak, and once they're stood up to and they get their nose bloodied, they will be done. But it's going to have to go through, but we're going to have to be brought right to the freaking brink. And I've said this multiple times, and it was always going to be Iran. I've been saying this for 3 years. It was going to be Iran. It wasn't going to be Putin. It was going to be the Iranians, because the Iranians have the most to lose. Iranians are now tougher since the first war with Iraq than countering the U.S. in Iraq, and now in Syria, military is far more prepared and tested than we know. Russia is there now since Serbia. Yep, is now there since Serbia. What if Trump loses in 2020? And what if he wins re-election? Neither of those things matter at this point. If Trump gets into a war with Iran, Trump will not get reelected, period. He could possibly lose in 2020. I was talking to my wife this morning, who's up in Ohio visiting her parents. Here's an anecdotal piece of evidence. And she was telling me through her sister, was talking or knows somebody who works at the Social Security office in Columbus. And you want to know what they're doing in Columbus, Ohio? This is a state that Hillary lost and that the Democrats absolutely need to win. They're bringing in Somalis, signing them up, getting them Social Security cards and Social Security numbers and getting them on welfare, and then sending them back to Somalia so they can vote. If you think that the election process will save us from anything, you are an idiot. And I mean that sincerely. Flush out your headgear, new guy. I'm not saying this to any person in particular. This is Animal Mother from Full Metal Jacket. Flush out your headgear, new guy. Do you think we waste kooks for freedom? Did Hannity melt down over not going to war with Iran? Hannity is a literally congenital idiot. If that's hate speech, then, fuck it. Take me off of YouTube. Star Trooper says, lately I've been buying gold grams and 10th ounce. I do like fractionals, by the way. FYI, for people who are thinking about buying gold, we'll talk about this for a few minutes. I've talked about this before, but new people in the stream, but 83 people in the stream tonight, amazingly enough, and I didn't even want to do a stream tonight. If you're buying gold, physical gold, one of the things I do recommend is, I mean, if you can buy one ounce coins, go ahead and buy them. They are the most liquid. Okay, but if you're looking at a way to like kind of leverage your purchases a little bit, one of the things you can do is the following: you can buy fractionals, or what I mean, fractional coins that are a fraction of an ounce. So any half, quarter, 10th, 20th, whatever. Now you're going to pay more per ounce for the smaller coins because it costs the same amount of money physically to mint a coin. Whether it's 10 ounce, it costs $10 to mint a coin, or $15 to mint a coin, or whatever the minting cost is, right? So there's the amount of gold, which is the spot price, and then there's the minting premium that goes on top of it. Well, on a 1 ounce coin, that works out to about 3 to 5%. On a half ounce coin, that's 5 to 7%. On a quarter ounce coin, that's about 10%. And on a 10th ounce coin, it's about 15% or 18%. It just goes up. The smaller the, so you're going to pay. So at $14.25 an ounce, you're going to pay $1,600 for a 10th ounce coin. It's just the way things are. But the print runs on 10th ounce coins are much lower, because they're not nearly as high demand. The 1 ounce coins are what everybody wants, because that's where you get the most value. That's where you get the most metal for your money. Unless you're buying old coins or whatever. But I'm just talking about new coins. So when you're looking at buying Chinese pandas, Austrian Philharmonics, Australian kangaroos, or the Perth Mint Lunar Series, or whatever, any of these collectible coins that are out there, you'll note that over a similarly sized gold eagle, which is the most liquid form, the U.S. gold eagle. So if you buy like a 10th ounce gold eagle, it'll be $160. Well, the Perth Mint coin will be $165. But 10 years from now, that Perth Mint 10th ounce coin that they only made 3,000 of that year could easily be worth twice the spot price. I'm not saying that it will be. I'm saying that there's a very, very high there's a much higher probability of those coins getting some kind of numismatic premium than 1 ounce coins. So if you're buying 10th ounce coins, don't just buy US coinage. That carries the lowest premium. They're the most liquid, but the other ones have a great opportunity for some leverage. Okay? So just something to think about. All right, let me look at again, I think I've covered some other comments and the same thing with silver. Buy some silver eagles every year. I used to buy a green tube of silver eagles every year, 20 ounces, and I wouldn't even open them. I just buy them and like stick them in a box, stick them in a box somewhere, and be done with it, right? Bury them in the backyard, whatever you're going to do with them, right? But I also will go out and I'll buy 5 ounces of Australian kangaroos, or whatever, especially Perth Mint stuff. I really like the Perth Mint stuff because you never know. And even with silver eagles, every year the number that are minted vary, and they become some of them become more and less valuable. You don't buy them with the intention of making money on specific coins or getting them graded or any of that happy horse shit. Don't play that game at all. Just buy good material and on a buying program, and then just put it away. And then you'll go back and go, holy shit. And then you go, check the prices at Atmex one day and go, holy shit. Fucking 2003 quarter ounce gold goats are trading for $4,000 an ounce. Maybe I should sell one. I do like Chinese pandas, actually. They're beautiful coins. So Stoyanovich is, I do like Chinese pandas, and they tend to appreciate in value numismatically. They're gorgeous coins. If you haven't seen them, they're absolutely gorgeous coins. So, sometimes you just buy coins because they're gorgeous. If you're buying them with the intention that gold's going to go to $10,000 an ounce, doesn't matter if you paid an extra $5 for the fucking coin because it's pretty. Not really. Hey, so Dragon Was is asking me, hey, Tom, do libertarians support open borders? Not good libertarians. Not this libertarian. I believe in closed borders. I believe in private property. I don't believe in government borders, but I don't believe in open borders with a welfare state and a warfare state. But a lot of libertarians, this is the one issue within the libertarian circles that has cause more strife than any other is the definition of open borders. And I would say that the centered around the Mises Institute and Lou Rockwell and those guys, the consensus is that no open borders with a welfare state and a warfare state. That it's an order of operations. That open borders is an ideal that you work towards, that you want to work towards, but you have to work towards. But it's a consequence of creating a private society. You don't start with the last fucking thing that you have to get to. You can't. You know, we have a world that's completely out of whack. You don't just go to the last fucking thing that would be a consequence of creating a world of private property and a world of individual sovereignty and all of those things, right? Open borders would then be a consequence of that of all those other things falling into place. It's the last thing that would happen. It would be obvious. It would become a moot point because because the world would respect property rights for the most part, more so than we do today. Right? If you envision that world and you envision the path to that world, then you understand that open borders are an ideal. They're not a policy point. That's where all the fucking left losertarians get, and that's why they all fucking leave and then call us and then call people like me fascists. They're just fucking lefties who just want to smoke pot. Anything about the housing market bubble? Asked North on 60. When will that pop? Not until after the dollar pops. The dollar has to crest. The dollar has to rise and then collapse. That's the only way you're going to bust the current monetary system, and you're going to bust, because right now what's happening is a massive capital inflight into the United States, and so everything's getting bid up. So all the U.S. assets are getting bid up. Okay, and because of that, you know, yeah, there's certain markets are overvalued, and you might have the high end markets now in the United States are overvalued, but middle end markets and ones that are, there's still plenty of opportunity for bull markets locally in real estate around this country, because there's still plenty of places where money can be dumped into real estate here in the United States. So in general, no, it has to get to a point where dollars become so freaking expensive that the foreign money that's moved in here to invest in real estate cheaply and then have it go up would then get wiped out, you know, because they're all in leverage, and they get wiped out on their loans becoming way too expensive relative to the dollar. So that's what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm not. But not right now. I think Stoyanovich says that, you know, has a house builder friend of his is saying the end of 2021. Yeah, in that time frame, 2021, 2022, 2023, in that range, somewhere in there is where everything's going to like really go to shit. Canada will collapse first because they're far more levered, and they have no safety net. Nobody's moving money into Canada other than Vancouver and Toronto. Those markets are already busting. But then again, the Canadian dollar has also gotten. I don't know. We could see a rotation into the Canadian dollar as it cheapens. We could see people still continue to buy into Canadian real estate, but I think the Canadian dollar is going to hyperinflate. So. James says, I think Don is smart enough to pushing Iran around to show that his base that he could be tough. Yes. And they're smart enough not to start a new war before the 2020 elections. Also, yes. But I think it's more complicated than that. But that's the essence of the situation. Canada has no gold reserves. They're fucked. The whole fiat system is the problem, says Carl Williams. The private Fed, the Bank of England, the rest of it. Oh, I agree. That's all going to collapse. So you got to start asking yourself, what is it going to look like on the other side? And I know that I don't know what it looks like on the other side, but I can tell you some of the steps that are going to happen, and I have some ideas on how you should prepare yourself for it. So. Yeah, okay. If that's the case for you, North on 60, saying that See a scenario where busted Torontonians are moving in, yes, and they think they have a narrow window now to take advantage, or I get screwed. Very possible. And even in the end, even if you take advantage and the market goes up after you, so what? If you made a good trade for yourself and you bettered yourself and bettered your position, then it doesn't matter if you left 20% or 25% on the table. Never, not a big deal. Canada has a lot of gold in the ground, but gold in the ground is worthless. It's got to be explored, it's got to be found, it's got to be mined, it's got to be purified. You got to raise the capital, it's capital intensive, believe me. Every swinging dick in Canada right now is going out looking for $5 million in exploration money. I can tell you that right now. Since Thursday, the phones have been ringing off the hook at every venture capitalist desk across Canada. Eric Sprott's phone, Rick Rule's phone, they're getting calls left and right now that there's a bull market on. And those guys are all saying, no, we bought everything. We bought all the projects we wanted at $1,000 an ounce or $1,100 an ounce. We're good. We got warrants, full warrants, and we're gonna make fucking an unbelievable amount of money. How many gold goats do I have? I'm not telling you. That would be dumb. No offense, Rio. I'm not gonna tell you that. Yeah, the Canadian Maple Leafs are pretty too, and they usually come in an air. They usually come, vacuum packed and all that. So I have Canadian coins as well. I not to downgrade Canadian Maple Leafs or anything, but I tend to prefer, me personally, I tend to prefer special series coins that change every year. Perth Mint stuff, both the annual kangaroos and the same thing with the Chinese pandas. Every year there's a different design. Australian kooks for the kookaburras for silver, kangaroos for gold, then the lunar series, and then the Chinese pandas. So every year there's a different design. So there's always a demand for the older coins for people who want to collect the whole set. And that's very powerful. I think it's a very powerful motivator. So I'm willing to pay the extra 5% upfront for it. Can you at least tell me how many gold Indiana Jones hats you have? 0. Though I really wish I had one. That would be awesome. Which states will survive the collapse best? Florida. Everybody else doesn't matter. I'm dead serious. I'm not even like this isn't like even being a homeboy or anything. This is like I don't know Oklahoma worth a shit, Jonathan. If you want to live out in the desert, you go right ahead. It'll probably I'm kidding. I know Florida will do very well. States with no income tax, states with a relatively, Florida's budget is what it is, but at the end of the day, they'll cut all this stupid greeny environmental shit tomorrow and kick all the Puerto Ricans out if they have to, or they will. So out of Orlando, they will. I think Florida does just fine. What's Tasmania? I don't know. So, all right, guys, we're coming up on the end here. It's nearly an hour. You got anything else? What would you think buying a property with arable land might be a good idea? Would I think that? I think that's Montana is kind of cool. There's a lot of states out there. I think Idaho will do very well. I think Wyoming will do very well. I think all those big traditionally conservative states have a lot of smart people still running their local governments. They'll be willing to they'll be willing to monetize crypto in order to pay taxes and all that stuff. They'll be on the front lines of all that stuff. But in general, they're also kind of inhospitable. And I think if we're coming into a period of time of colder weather, I think that states like Florida are going to do very well. There's just going to be a tremendous inflow of capital into Florida. Yeah, but of course Rio's saying he's just going to go to the moon, and then that's that. So Atlantis sounds good. As long as it's in tropical waters, Look at the of course, then there's user 13 who says, she's just, looking forward to kicking out the Yankees myself. I'm like, Lincoln was a tyrant. I'm no longer a Yankee. Don't hold it against me. I'm just twitchy, and I used to be a Northerner. Am I moving to China when the collapse happens? No, I'm not. I'm not sure where I'm moving, but I'm not moving to China. The cold is an issue, and I'd be smart. So, Florida doesn't stay flooded because we're too close to the sea, and it just all runs off. It's half of it's swamp anyway. So. Ryu, I know you're an alien, dude. I'm all over that. I got that already. So. All right, guys. I'm about done. We're at an hour. You got anything else you want to talk about? Do it amongst yourselves. If you like what you heard tonight, please give a like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. Nothing you heard tonight in terms of market analysis or recommendations or discussion was intended to be a recommendation anyway. I'm just some guy on the internet. I'm on my Series 6 and on my Series 7. I'm not a financial professional, so this is all just for informational purposes only. Standard boilerplate stuff. If you don't like it, look, I'm just some guy. I'm just some asshole on the internet. Moreover, if you do like what you heard tonight, I can't believe that anybody does. Consider making a small donation either via crypto, PayPal, and or install the Brave browser and install via Brave. I know that there's a little bit of a controversy brewing now as Brave just changed their terms of service. I got to read them real quick. I don't think it's anything in particular or anything serious, and I don't think anybody should get worried or upset about it at the end of the day. So you all take care. You have a great afternoon. We'll talk soon. Keep your stick on the ice.